It was so wonderful to be, my parents sent me to UES. One of the reasons was they did not want me to go to some, West LA, homogenous, boring school. They wanted me to go to school with a lot of different kinds of people from all parts of society. And that's how I grew up, and I think that made a big difference in my life, that everybody wasn't exactly like me, and that was great. And I just learned how to love learning. And so that was really the most important thing for me. And also just so many wonderful people I went to school with, like Robin Reed, who's now Robbie Reed, and Fred Rosenthal, my good friend. We played handball together and Foursquare and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, we had a great time. We rode unicycles. We did everything that was, kind of unconventional and fun. And the other thing that I remember is that UES gave kids credit. They had confidence that kids could learn in a more sophisticated way. That we could learn Spanish, we could learn to ride unicycles, we could learn new math, that we could understand math, that we could understand business, and that was, that confidence that UES had in kids was really important to me, and I think it changed my life completely. So that's why I am happy to be here. So, Jill, we did a reunion once a long time ago, like 20 years ago. Yeah. We put together a UES reunion. Did we save the list and the rosters and everything? No. So we have to put this all together, and you're going to hear more about that later. But anyway, Jill.
All right. Well, good evening. It's so nice to see these alumni. I'm Jill Strawbridge. I'm a class of 72.
She was the tallest one in the class.
Yes, I was this tall when I was 12, so.
Yes, you were.
I should have brought that class picture, but I'm always in the back on the end. It's like I know exactly where to go. But carpooled with Gary Clarke to school. I have had the tremendous good fortune that my son got to attend UES. And I'm so sad that he graduated a couple of years ago. There are still movements to get the school extended into high school. But I had the privilege of being able to relive my childhood every day when I took him to school, and I got very involved in the Family School Alliance. I was the president, so to me it was just a delight to be back on campus. As a matter of fact, I would give school tours, and we have an alumnus. She and her husband came, and we're on a tour that I led. So I encourage you, if you haven't been back to campus, it looks a little bit different because the Anderson School's there and it wasn't there before, but the heart and soul of the school is still exactly the same. So I encourage you to come back to school. And one of the best things about being there was I had the privilege to get to know current principal Norma Silver. And I can't believe that it's been 5 years that you've been there already, because it seems like yesterday when she was going through the application process. But Norma, like us, was at the lab school and left and came back, because she was there from '96 to 2003 as an administrator. Her two boys are lab school alumni. And then Norma went to be the principal of a brand new charter school in downtown Los Angeles, Parlos Niños, that helped serve underserved populations. And then 5 years ago, there was an opening at the lab school for principal, and Norma came back. So it was clear to me as an alumnus when the interviews were going on that she understands the lab school. She gets where the school came from, what the mission of the school is, and that she was absolutely the best person to lead it forward. So it is my great pleasure to introduce Norma Silver.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's been really inspiring to hear the stories that you're telling, whether it's, the unicycles, or whether it's the stilts, or whether it's riding on roller skates to get to a certain level before you can actually ride them through the UCLA campus. They're fascinating stories. So I just want to say that it's wonderful to have you together here. And I just really feel the sense of legacy too as a principal, in terms of working with the current generation of students, and also thinking about what their lives will be like 40 years from now. Because looking back, it was 40 years ago, more or less in the 70s. And I have to say I'm from that generation too, because I also was in elementary school 70 to 73 school year. And I go back and I think about the time period, and I'm listening to the units of study that you had, you know, with the stock market, and how meaningful and how thoughtful the teaching was back then. And it still is. And I just think about the sort of the continuity of the lab school. And it is really about creating a democratic learning community. One that honors the voice of children, one that recognizes and celebrates differences in every dimension of what it is to be human. And I think that that's what makes the lab school so extraordinary, because I see you embracing one another when you see each other, and it's because you were honored and you honored others as well in your experience at the lab school. And I think that that's quite an extraordinary experience for children, to recognize differences and to honor those differences and to celebrate them and value them. That's what we really need in our world today, and that's why the lab school's philosophy and its pedagogy is so relevant today, and so relevant for the children that will become the leaders also, like all of you are in your different fields. The lab school is currently going under an amazing renovation. We had a family, a very, very generous family, who understands the mission of the lab school. And you may not have heard the mission when you were there as students, but I'll tell you a little bit about the mission of the lab school and what it is. It's really a three-pronged mission. So the teachers that you had constantly were meeting, constantly were planning, constantly were reflecting on your studies and how you collaborated and how you were learning, so that they could then, right, document the learning and then share that practice through outreach. So the first prong is constant reflection and refinement in teaching and learning. Also engaging in research. So part of that was sharing, right, documenting and understanding your learning and your progress. And then researching, working with people within the university to then engage in outreach. So those are the three prongs: teaching and learning, research, and outreach. And really the lab school's purpose is there fundamentally to engage in the discourse of education and to impact public education. And so, as Jill said, I had the great fortune of getting my master's at UCLA, and I had a professor who encouraged me to apply there after I got my master's. So I was at the lab school for 7 years, and it totally transformed the way that I looked at education, because I came from East LA, from LAUSD, and there was always sort of the same way of working. When I came to the lab school, I really saw sort of a difference in the way that the teachers and the culture valued the individual child and valued the voice of children, and how important that voice was in terms of the planning and the response to the ideas. And those are fundamental to the way that we teach today. So if you were to walk through the lab school today, or let's just say 2 nights ago when we had an open house, you would see installations where you would see concepts and ideas in science and social studies that came together, where children created installations, meaning art installations, murals, to show how sound and light impacted ecosystems in the ocean. And it is quite amazing to see the kind of learning and the depth of learning that children engage in today, and which all of you engaged in yesterday. And so, you know, part of the work that I'm doing is really working today to really think about how do we prepare our children for tomorrow. And so hearing your stories of yesterday really has been very inspiring to me, and it really, I think, energizes me even more in terms of going back to the school and really talking about those stories. And really the stories that you're saying are stories that are experiential, that are about learning and doing. and thinking and sharing what your thoughts are and being valued in the process. And so all of those are the tenets of the lab school, and they exist today and they will continue to exist tomorrow, because that's how we learn best. We learn best from one another. So I just want to thank you for the tremendous opportunity, to be here with you. It's just truly, for me, it's an honor. I think I invite you all and I encourage you to come and visit the lab school. We're really undergoing some changes in terms of the renovation because of the gift that a family gave to us to update and bring the lab school into now the 21st century. I want to also let you know that we are restoring and renovating the old art studio that for about 7 years was a classroom, and now it's becoming what we call a STEAM lab. It's an I-STEAM lab, which means it's an interdisciplinary approach to teaching science, social studies, technologies, engineering, the arts, math, and music in a way that follows children's ideas. And so we are also in the process of hiring a dedicated art teacher. So we are going back to those fundamental roots that are so important to the experience of all children. So as a lab school, we need to be leading edge, and we need to be leading education with a voice in what matters in education. And I just want to sort of end with the fact that the lab school is founded on the principles of John Dewey, Corinne Seeds, Madeline Hunter, who all of you experienced, right? Who, truly is an amazing, a person that I didn't know, but when I went through the teacher education program, I always heard about Madeline Hunter, and I had no idea that I would be a principal at the school. Madeline Hunter, I would never think of wearing her shoes. Her shoes are bigger and larger than the swimming pool that we have here. Just amazing. But what I want to say to you is that those tenets remain, and what John Dewey said is that education is life. And so all of you experienced a life and time there that was fundamental to who you are today, and that's what we need to think about in every single school that we have across the country, that it's about that kind of education that will create leaders and that will create an amazing experience for children globally now. So with the new technologies, that's what we're looking at, is how do we create connections globally, just as you have created connections with one another. I think it's fundamentally how can we connect children very early on. So that's part of my dream in coming back to the lab school. But I just want to say what an honor, and thank you for coming tonight. Thank you to Marc. Thank you to everyone, the alumni. I want to say thank you to our board members who are, if you could just stand up, the board members who are here, and let's give them a big hand. And Jennifer, thank you also for creating the connections. And then I just want to give also a very special thank you to Dr. Figanigwe, because all of you know her. And I came to meet her in 1996 when I was there to 2003, and she is a pillar in the community who truly has impacted all of our lives. So thank you, Muriel, for everything that you do for the lab school and for every child who you made a difference with, and that was every single child who came through the door. So cheers to her, and cheers to all of you. Cheers to Marc also for this incredible evening. So salud, everybody. Salud. And so I just want to turn it over also to Sanam, who's also been amazing together with Sandra in helping to organize this evening. So thank you, Sanam, for that.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I feel like those were really tough acts to follow. So I don't have quite as long of a history as Jill as an alum, as Marc as an alum, or Norma. I started, so for those of you who I haven't yet met, I'm the Director of Development and Alumni Engagement at the lab school, and I started back in December, so not that long ago, 6 months, and in that short time I've really come to experience what a truly special and magical place the lab school is. And seeing you all here tonight really reminds me of that. You know, the memories that you have from the place, and the special moments and the things that make the school so unique and so different than any other elementary school anywhere in Los Angeles. I thank you first for being here. There's a lot of other places you could be tonight, especially with the rain and the drizzle that happened earlier. You know, thank you for coming. I want to also thank Marc personally for hosting this event. So generous of you. Thank you again. I think a round of applause. You know, it's so incredible that we've been all brought together, alumni from the 70s, and I also want to thank Marc for helping to start something really exciting. And basically, you know, UES, as you know it, or UCLA Lab School, as we call it, has a really long, deep and rich history. We're over 135 years old. We have a lot of alumni going decades back. We haven't always done the best job of keeping in touch with our alumni, and tonight with this event, we hope that that's going to change. This event.
Explain that we don't have rosters. We don't know
who we're absolutely. So basically, this event is the first step in a broader initiative to gather all information about alumni. Any living alumni we want to have.
Explain that we don't. We don't even know who went to UES what year. There isn't even a list at UES of who went to UES.
Well, there must be some code numbers somewhere.
So believe it or not, we don't have complete lists of our alumni. We have some names, and we have some contact information, but
Did they write our names
but it's
down
not.
when we were in those little rooms?
We had the feeling we were experiments.
That's true.
No, we were just.
It was probably a secret experiment.
Take us out.
So yeah, I mean, research was part of the mission, right? But yeah, so believe it or not, we don't have complete alumni records. We don't have everyone's name in one place who graduated in a certain year. We have some names, others we don't have. The names that we do have, not all the contact information is up to date. So our goal is to change that. This event is the first step in launching, you know, an initiative where we will gather alumni information, and we'll go decade by decade or do it all at once. Whatever it is that we can do to you know, get alumni information and then keep in touch with our alumni. Basically, we're in the first phase of undertaking a project to, as I mentioned, find all of our alumni contact information. It's going to take some time, as you can imagine, because we're 135 years old, and it's also going to take some significant resources. So if anyone wants to donate to this project of gathering alumni data, talk to me afterwards. But basically, we want to hire, you know, someone part-time or full-time for a temporary time period to focus just on this, because this is a huge job. But again, this is the first step towards that. And so, you know, when I thank Marc, it's for hosting this event and bringing everyone together, but I thank Marc for launching the first step in this process of really, hopefully gathering all our alumni information so that we can reconnect you with the school. You know, you guys are a part of our history, and we're a part of your history. The things that I hear from alumni, you know, about, I think it's been mentioned multiple times now, but the unicycles, and the stilts, and the first kisses, and the first, you know, punches, and all kinds of, hopefully just one of those, that's it. But a lot of amazing, incredible memories that
were later.
So we're doing this because we want to reconnect with all of you and keep in touch with you. A couple things in addition to launching this initiative that we're doing to hopefully reconnect with you in the coming year is we are going to have a an event at the, not necessarily at the school, but to celebrate the school. We're hoping to do it sometime in the spring. We're looking at different dates, so you'll all get an invite to that in early 2016. And we're hoping to honor a distinguished alumni. So this is part of our effort to really re-engage you guys, and it's alumni of all decades. Anyone we have contact information for, we're going to invite. We also hope to continue this kind of decade-based alumni reunion, because just the responses that we got from people were so fantastic. Everyone was so excited to see their classmates. Oh, and is so-and-so going to be there? And is so-and-so? And, which, you know, leads me to my next point. We would love your help. If you want to get involved, if you want to help us, you know, you can get involved with the Alumni Committee, which I'll share a little bit more about in a minute. If you have, you know, class photos, if you have names, if you have contact information for people, let us know. You, I think, have contact information for us, otherwise you wouldn't have been able to RSVP for this event. So just shoot an email and say, you know, these are people that I know were in my class, or this is contact information, or share news about lab school and the fact that we want to re-engage with our alumni with your friends that you keep in touch with. We are going to be launching a newsletter for alumni this coming year, so that's another way that we're going to keep in touch with you. And that leads me to sort of the final point, which is just thanking the Alumni Committee. I'm going to have you stand up again, so please stand up if you're on the Alumni Committee of the Lab School. I want to give these guys a round of applause. So Ryan Gates, and most of these are current parents, so Ryan Gates is there, Mitch Smelkinson is there, Andrew Weiss, who is also an alum from the 80s, and then Jennifer Wells Green, who I don't know. Oh, there. Okay, you moved. You're that side and now you're that side. These folks really helped make this possible. You know, I started 6 months ago, so they're like, you know, I started and they said, we got to do this. This is really important, and they helped make this happen. So. You know, big shout out to all of them, and if you want to get involved, definitely talk to me or talk to any one of them. And I think that's about it, unless there's someone who wants to say a few words.
I want to say words. I know no one wants to, everyone should eat, but you can listen in the background if you're eating. First of all, Mark, thank you so much for having this, because this is what I'm thinking of as, I'm Andrew Weiss. I'm an alumni from class of '84, so I'm a teeny bit younger, and I have kids that go to the school, so I actually get to see what, where it's gone and where it was, and I want to just talk briefly about that. But I so appreciate what I think of as kindling. This is like kindling. We're trying to get this going. There has been nothing regarding alumni. We're all been alumni for 20, 30 years, okay? And no one's even known where the hell we are. Longer. 25 years. 25 years.
Teeny bit younger.
20, yeah, something, 30 years, whatever, I don't know, whatever. And it's crazy because I have this like pride in this school, and I think anyone who's been in this school, now I don't know, I've never went to another elementary school, so I don't know how many people have pride in their elementary school, but I feel like I'm honored. I'm with like the mayor's, you know, the mayor is in the school. I'm with Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's like I have like this pride that there really are. I mean, being a part of this place is like an honor, and I feel like we haven't embraced that tradition. Meaning we really haven't given enough attention to the fact of all these people, these amazing people that went through the same experience, the same blessed experience that we all got to go through. And we all have all our memories. I was actually thinking I should not talk, but throw it out, and everyone can like stand up and say just one really amazing, cool thing they remember from when they were here. 'Cause I can name like 100. Really good. I can name 100, and I can remember so many special memories of my experience there that transcended. I went to, God, I've been to so many damn schools. I went to high school and med school and residency fellowships and yes, peace, what, everything. Anyway, but I think of the lab school, UES. I'm actually been brainwashed into calling it the freaking lab school because I have kids there. I do think of it as UES, but that I have so many amazing memories that I really think is one of the most special portions of my life. And we had this whole talk once. Do people really care about what elementary school they went to? Really? I mean, is that a big deal? If you went to the lab school, yeah, it's a big deal. Or the UES, like I've been brainwashed. It's different. It's a different experience. It's not like anyone else's, and I feel like I'm the only one. Well, Jill and I can speak that we really like. It was an amazing thing. It was so amazing that I would have done anything. I wanted my children to have that same thing that I went through, and I've been so lucky to be able to walk my little 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5, all the way up now across into the North Yard into EC, where they would play on. We used to have tricycles that would go around that little course on the you know, and then we called it the gully. Now they call it, I don't know what they call it. And we had the bridge. The engineering school would come over and they would build the bridges, and we'd have the bridge competition that I think you guys would all remember. And I just have so many amazing memories, and I would even come back, and this is what I kind of really briefly want to say. I would come back, not that I was invited. No one even knew who the heck I was. I was in the med school, and I would come over to the North Campus and be like, hey, I want to see the school. And they're looking at me like I'm literally like an alien. Like, who the heck are you? And I had to go and find like teachers that actually were still there. And Dr. Ife Ganigwe, who wasn't, she was Nurse Ife Ganigwe back. I don't remember you as doctor, so now she's doctor. She used to talk about BMs. I remember specifically not even to this day really knowing what BM was, and I'm now a doctor. But we know what that is. But I have such, she does BMs. And then where you're going to do it, and how you're going to do the BM. But I remember seeking out trying to find some familiar face at the school, and that's so ridiculous. I like wanted to be at that school. I wanted to, and I found Miss Cohn. Does anyone remember Jan Cohn? Yeah. So I remember her. She was. I don't want to say she's my favorite teacher because Miss Sheemer's also here, who was my favorite art teacher and amazing, and I really loved. I came up to her and I was like, she probably has no idea who I am at the time, but I got to find Miss Cohn, and I remember her so well too. And she was still on the campus, and she was so like, oh, come and walk around with me and see the school. And I felt all those amazing feelings from when I was, whatever, 5 through 11, 12 years old. Okay, and it all comes back. And so I definitely, and yet that was it. And then I was like, all right, now I have kids, and I'm like, okay, where are we going to school? How do we go to this place? And I love this place. I love this place. I'm like the most diehard. Who's I talking to about Lifetime Bruin? Wait, yes, Lifetime Bruin. I'm a lifer. Like, I am so like because we got hit in our formidable years when we had no choice. We didn't even know.
John Wooden, we saw him.
Yes. Yeah? I can't hear you. Yeah? Anyway, so my point is, this is kindling. I can talk forever, I won't. But this is kindling. We need to get this going. This isn't about we want something. We want to create a presence, that we want this alumni community. This is us. We've got like this is a major accolade that we've achieved, and we didn't even get credit for it. Like, we got to go to the coolest place ever. And I think everyone should be telling everyone that they knew about it, so we can keep doing it.